speaker tonight. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Jason Mills, who's the head baseball coach at DH Conley in North Carolina. Jason's been the head coach at DH Conley for the past 26 years. He has won like 1 million games. He's also won a couple state championships, and he's also the president of the North Carolina Baseball Coaches Association. I've got to know Jason personally through our work with the Canes organization. Jason's the pitching coach for the Canes 17 National New York Met Scout team. These names continue to get longer as they go, but Jason's got one of the most difficult jobs in travel baseball because he's got 18 arms and they all throw like 95, and he's got to decide which ones he wants to use when. But it's one of the really, really good baseball men that I know, and he's the guy that I love to sit by the pool when we're in Key West, or I'm not Key West, but West Palm, and we talk baseball, and he's a guy that I love to bounce ideas off of, and he's one of the really, really genuine guys in our game. So please give him your undivided attention. Jason Mills.
Hopefully, am I okay without the microphone? Because I walk around a lot and I squirrel a lot and talk a lot. But I appreciate you guys having me down here. Really excited. I love the fact of how many coaches are here. That is key right there. That shows a lot. Coming from North Carolina, we probably had about 70% of this, and we have almost 500 schools in North Carolina. So it says a lot of your commitment to these young men. I'm just going to kind of start us off here. Maybe. Oh, there we go. Got a little highlight video. I had some AC/DC to roll with it. We don't have a great sound system, but just the thought process. I love my kids to play with a lot of energy. You've got Matthew Mateus, an All-American at North Carolina, on the bump right here. That's him hitting a home run too. He doesn't hit a whole lot. Of course, most of this is against my rival high school, Greenville Rose, and we play a lot. I think we ended up playing 4 times that year. But the big thing is the energy part of what we try to bring on a daily basis, whether it be practice, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow in our competitive practice stuff, or whether it be in the games. And we break some rules here. We have some props, and that last guy scared me a little bit with all the penalties and everything else y'all get. We're not that bad in North Carolina. But, that guy, he kind of frightened me for a second there. But, this was, the year after COVID. We just came out. We were only allowed to play half a season, so we had the basketball hoop, and I think we ended up hitting like 35 home runs in 17 games. And, first 4 guys of the season, we're playing one of my best friends, and we hit 4 home runs to start the year, and it was just a lot of fun. And that's kind of the thing I've grown from when I first started. I was kind of I'm a short guy, and so I had people said I was like Napoleon a little bit. I had that short guy syndrome, and I was really commanding on it. And now it's kind of turned into I want to have fun all the time. I want my kids, when I come up or I'm walking up to them after they screwed up, not to go, uh-oh, here he comes. Okay? I want them to be a little bit relaxed. So what we're going to discuss today is I have a passion for pitching. Okay? And know this, there's no such thing as a right answer, okay, in this. Everybody has their own model, their own thoughts, and it's right. And so we can collaborate. That's what this is all about, is collaborating and shooting off ideas. I'm sure Coach Hallett, I remember he spoke in Charlotte at our convention probably about 10 years ago, Coach Hallett. And I remember, the pressure he talked about, and some of the pitching stuff that they did in the bullpen to get them prepared for big situations, and we carried that over. Man, this is all about building and learning from one another. And I've been fortunate. At my high school in 26 years, we've had 52 guys, not including the 4, go on to play college baseball. 3 guys have pitched in the big leagues, and I think 6 in the minor leagues. It's not because of me. It's because of them. Okay? That is the honest truth. The Canes guys, it's because of them. We just have the ability to create a plan for them to develop, and that's our job. The actual, whether they get there and what they do with it, that's up to them, okay? And we can kind of give that push, but it's all about developing a plan, and that's what we're going to talk about mostly today. So the question says, does your coaching staff take an active role? Every day that my guys stretch, throw, me and my entire staff are down the lines with them. Okay, when they're throwing, we're with them. Yeah, we're dodging some balls sometimes, okay? We don't want to get hit, It doesn't matter. I have about 71 kids right now. I have 3 teams. I have 3 coaches. Okay, so it's tough to get to every man, but our job is to give these kids the best experience we can. And if you love on every kid every single day, there might be a Jason Mills that was 4'11", 92 pounds as a freshman in high school, the worst player that the coach kept, and he played 4 years in Division I baseball at East Carolina. They're there in your programs. Every kid's important, okay? Do you have a plan that matches your outcome you want? Okay, and we have lots of different variations. I've been passing around books, look at them, and I will tell you this. At the end of the presentation, there'll be a QR code. My email's up there. I share everything, every practice plan that we've had, every, whatever it is, every character building meeting, anything we got, I'll give you. Okay, so don't be afraid to ask. If you see something you like in there, take it. If you see something you don't like, don't, just tell me I don't like it. I think this might be better, because then I can fix it. Do your players have a hard copy of the plan? So every one of my pitchers, and I have 43 pitchers currently, get a binder with a notebook in it, and they're coming around. And these things have everything they need from January 1, or actually this year, December 30th, all the way to February 14th. I mean, we'll look at it. Every single thing. We take a week or two to put these things together. I make my AP physics class put them together for me, and our kids carry these things around. And the nice thing is they're in little plastic sheets, except for what they have to write on. So the next year we just pop a few things out, put a couple things next in. If you want to peek at that one, I'll give you that one. Okay. Do players have a hard copy, and do we update it? We're constantly trying to get better, trying new things, okay? Whatever it may be, and I'm going to click on here. Number one goal for us as a head varsity baseball coach is to get the next generation of coaches taught. I might have an assistant coach who I really am fond of. He was an infielder. He's a hitting guy. But one day he's going to be a head varsity baseball coach. I've had 11 come through my program. You've got to train them how to become a pitching coach, how to become a hitting coach, how to become a catching coach, an infielder. You got to train them. So we made a little checklist of things that I take in the bullpen. I have an iPad, and I take my little iPencil my kids bought me, so I look professional, and go in there and I write notes every day on every kid's bullpen. I watch all 43 kids throw every pitch I'm sitting in on in our program. Not that I don't trust my young coaches, but I want to be there and help train them. I've got a 22-year-old JV coach that's still learning a little bit. So we have this checklist. So I'll write notes and have ideas here on there, and then we give these to the players afterwards as part of that. They'll hole punch it and put it behind their bullpen so they know what we saw, because it's tough to get to all these guys pitching, and we'll get to the part about them remembering, because we all know our pitchers remember everything we say, right? Okay, they forget about everything. So again, you can devise develop one of these. You can take this, like I've got some things up here still that I need to get rid of. This was, are they in a hybrid stance, right? A couple of years ago, we had to fight that hybrid rule. Now they can be in the hybrid rule. And then, little things like that we try to pick out and then make our comments down there, and the kids go home. Why is this important? Well, Corey, I don't want to nail you, because you work in an academy or in an indoor, right? Okay? And as a high school coach, a lot of us have this love-hate relationship with these academies and indoor places. They're a great resource. Okay? None of my pitchers go to an indoor place because they're getting from us what they need. Now, my hitters aren't, because Lord knows I'm an awful hitting coach. Okay, so my guys all go hitting wise. Okay, but if we're providing, most of these kids are going to a strength coach or a hitting coach or a pitching coach because we're not providing what they need. But you walk in, and they walk in the first day of January with one of those books that has their program from 6 weeks on. Their parents are going to go, hey, this guy's got it going on. He has a plan for my son. And that's going to kind of reel them in. At the same time, resources for these guys, whatever it may be, man, they're great You know, if Corey was in my, and Corey and I are close, if Corey was in my area and he was working with my pitchers, I would be on the telephone with him. Hey, what's going on with that guy? I call him all the time whenever I steal one of his pitchers to come up to our 17 national team from our 16 team. Tell me what Sharman does, or right before Jupiter, what's his key? Oh, he's got a great changeup, coach. All right, I know what to key on with this young man. Okay, but teaching and mentoring our young coaches as a varsity coach, as veteran coaches, Coach Hallett, that's what we do, right? We create that next generation of coaches here. Every day they come to the school or come to throw. I'm sorry, I forgot something. I'm going right back. I told you I was a little bit airheaded. My kids have a specific throwing program that day. And so we laminate it for them and put them on little cards like this. Not a hard deal. They take it, they stick it right in their back pocket. Okay, hey, this is my specific throwing program today. We'll have guys on here, and I know you can't see it well, but we'll have guys on that are throwing in the bullpen. Their whole unit's up here. Then this side over here is getting their long toss in that day, and they're not throwing, and then they'll become a position player at that point. But it's position specific. Trent Mongero will be here tomorrow. He'll talk to you about the infielder throwing program. We use his. It's unbelievable. Develop something. And just remember this, your kids aren't going to remember. If you tell them 10 throws at this distance, 10 throws at that distance, 10 throws at this distance, it's going to go in one ear and out the other. And the next thing you know, it's just going to look like mayhem out there. So if you ever think about that, just a little reminder card. They stick it right in their back pocket. We have these things set up for our in and out. Whenever we're going to do practice play or defensive work, offensive work, we just hand these little things like that. They give them to us at the end of practice. Boom, you reuse them maybe 2 days later. Quick little things for them they can stick in. Drill regiment we'll get to, and post throwing. This is the biggest thing that I've had to, or being with the Canes has helped me, because we've had a strength coach with us always, and I've learned more about after they throw than ever before, and the importance of that. We're going to go through that part in there. Remember, if we have a plan, they're going to have a plan. So that's the biggest thing there. I know we're going through some stuff right now. We're going to get to the pitching part. In that book, what's in there? A calendar. They know every day where they're supposed to be, which groups are throwing, which groups aren't. The front page is standards. I'm really big on this. Setting that standard, because, baseball players, they've got to know that it's just not about baseball. It's so much more. How to treat these players, so on down the road. General information, philosophy we'll get to, warm-up throwing programs, recovery, PFP, pickoffs, bullpen workouts, including their live outings, a journal and a tally sheet, and then I love stickers. If you look at the front or back up there, you'll see some sayings from some Hall of Famers in there. There's my standards. Again, if you can't read them up there, you just hit the QR code at the end. You'll be able to see the whole thing in there. Steal them. I know, Lord knows I stole them from somebody eventually. But we want to set that standard of behavior, because that's our first and foremost importance. All right, the general information, I have 3 pages in there. How many of you guys that your kids, when it's like 50 degrees, show up in shorts and t-shirts? Because Lord knows I have like crazy. So we have to give them information that says, hey, you need to come in baseball pants, you need to come in sweatpants, whatever regiment you guys have at your program. You have to have sleeves, you have to have an extra sweatshirt. We have team jackets, you need to bring your team jacket. Little things like that's in there in the clothing. What their schedule, what their responsibility is. Signs, well, you guys still use signs in North Carolina. I'm the guy that got these watches on the pitchers this year. Okay, we're going to push them as hard as we can. We're working with the NFHS to prove that the watch communication on both the pitchers and catchers will speed up pace of play for us, speed up safety, make the game better, and hopefully we can get that done this year, and you guys can join us next year in it. If you guys are interested, I'll show you all the loopholes. My college catcher is the president of the National Federation, so that was my in there. So that was a big one. Use what you got. So you put your signs in here. Talk about what you're going to do with runner on second. We don't have to use those anymore. Put your philosophy about your stretch mechanics, about what you're going to do to hold runners on. Just anything and everything that they can have if they have time that they can be reading in there. And that way when you get to the field and the guy says, well, I don't know how to do a spin move, hey, this was covered in your book, now let's go ahead and practice and try to put that in. Throwing programs. And I'm adamant, this is my biggest thing about coaches, being out there during the throwing programs. For pitchers, this is our batting practice. This is our most important time of practice for us, the pitchers. 90% of our work is done during our throwing program. 90%. 10% is on the bullpen. Okay, so if they go through the motions out on the field, they're not putting a lot of intent and a lot of thought and a lot of just being specific on what they're trying to do in their mechanics during their throwing program, they're going to go to the bullpen and they're going to be all over the place. 90%. Okay, you can share it with them. You get better out on your throwing program, then you take that to the bullpen. It's like our hitters work in the cage and hitting the cage nonstop so they can go out on the field and take BP, and then hopefully it'll transfer over into a game. So our pitchers, this is our important time. So we have some things that we like to do. Biggest thing, that is we're all dealing with right now is velocity, right? I mean, it's one of my stickers in the back says, you can't, nobody cares how hard you throw ball from the Nationals training facility. But we as coaches have to embrace that, because our kids, if they throw 82 miles an hour, they're probably not, I think I'm good, they're probably not going to get a whole lot of looks into college unless they're left-handed. Okay, but if they're 88 and we can get them up to that number, then we got a chance. And so velocities become a big part. So in our throwing program, I don't have my plyo station up here. I don't know where that video went when I made this thing. I apologize, but it's in my doc folder. So we will try to work on hinges and get there. And we have two. The first one, if you notice, and I'm going to kind of slide to the side. Hopefully I can go back here and play that again. And you notice the knee stayed stacked as long as we could, but his knee really went forward. Okay? The power, as much as we can keep that weight onto the back heel, for my young guys especially, they don't get forward, they're not throwing all upper body. And so they will practice this hinge, probably 10 times before they even start playing catch to get in that position. The other one that forces it in them is a step back throw, and this is an old East Carolina commit, James Sawyer, his sophomore year. And if you notice, it's just a quick little step back, okay? And if you notice, when it does it, it forces that weight back onto that heel. For a long time, I will tell you, I made the mistake of really becoming co-dominant with my pitchers about having their weight pushed a little bit towards the front of their foot. And if you don't believe me, when you get a chance to stand up, if you go on the front part of your foot, you'll feel the front part of your leg flex. But if you go and you put that weight on the heel and then lift right there, you'll feel the back of the leg flex. And there's a difference between the muscle mass on both of those sides. I'm going to be stronger on the back of my leg than I am in the front. Now, there's other problems that will go over it. What, do they just kind of roll over it, or do they actually get that ground force that we're looking for? But this is the first step in starting the development and starting your pitchers to become a little bit more body aware. And that's an important thing, is this body awareness that pitchers have to develop. They just can't be told to do things. They have to understand the whys behind things. So during our drills, the first one is a breaking ball drill. I love this. I got this from Coach Foxhall when he was at NC State, probably back in, it's probably been 15, 20 years ago. Softballs. If you can dominate this, okay, and then you get one of these little things, you're going to dominate that. The harder you can spin this thing's going to spin a lot more, and that's what we're looking for. So the first drill is they'll start on a knee, and they'll spin breaking balls back and forth with the softball. And I don't think I can blow that thing up unless you hit the little full screen on there. There you go, right there. Maybe not. But they start from a knee, and they just don't ease this thing. They're going after it a little bit. Okay, and these are two pretty good pitchers. One's at North Carolina, the other one's at UNCG. And basically, they're both just really trying to spin this thing. Then they go up to a balance point, and they're going to go ahead and spin this thing. The final step I don't have on here is they'll take the baseball and throw it. Just know this. When they throw the baseball, they're going to bury it into the dirt a couple times because they're going to dominate it so hard. But it's going to snap. And they're going to get excited because they're finally not just going to have this little bender. They're going to have something with a little bit of bite to it. Okay? Yes?
Does it concern you that they just sit there and just keep flipping that breaking ball 7, 8, 9, 10 times in a row without straightening the arm back out?
So, realistically, we probably throw 5 from the knee and then probably about 5 to 10 from his feet. And then we go to this is just our breaking ball regimen at that time, so that's the only focus we have. They've already played catch, they've already long tossed or gotten hot, whatever it is. This isn't a starter, this is like the back end of the throwing program. So
you don't mind that they just throw breaking ball, 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 breaking ball.
They're in a little bit more rapid fire than they would normally be just
Okay.
because of the video. We were videoing in the rain that day, so that that's what we're doing. But you're probably looking about somewhere around 15 breaking balls total at that point, and they're not full distance. They're only 30 feet and then 45 feet the first two, and before they back up to the 60. So when they're with the softball, they're not going to be full distance. Yes.
So are they throwing the softball? They're throwing 5 to 7, and then they throw it with the baseball? Or are they doing 5
So
to
they'll go 5 to 7 with the baseball, and a lot of times this will be on the days. They'll go on the days they're throwing their bullpen once we're to the breaking ball. So the first 3 weeks we don't throw any breaking balls. It's all fastball change, and then we go when we're going to the breaking balls. We start breaking balls at 54 feet. We don't go to full 60, but they'll come in and they'll be hot and ready to go. It's just the more feel they get for that breaking ball, in my opinion, the better it's going to be. If they don't throw it that often, or they just throw it maybe 2 or 3 times during warm-ups, when they get to the pen, it's not going to be what they want. But if they already have a feel for it at that time, I just feel like it's going to be better, and it gives us a chance to see what their true breaking ball is at that point. Let's see here, the next one, change-up drill. So we've changed a little bit. Back then we used to use hockey pucks, and now we've kind of gone to these kind of half balls. You could use, the Enfuego balls, but they're so expensive. These things are like $10. Our whole point, a perfect change-up for me, for a right-hander, is going to spin at 3 o'clock, okay? And it's not going to happen. Okay, if you get a pitcher that can throw a 3 o'clock change-up, you've got something really special. Most of the time it's going to be like 2 o'clock or, somewhere 1:30, somewhere in there, so you're going to get more of that spin on it at that point. But you'll see here in this one that these guys are just kind of nice and easy flipping, and they're trying to get that change-up going sideways. Now, Matthew in high school had a really good change-up. And when he got to Carolina, they turned it into a split change, which he's throwing now. But this, again, it's just nice, easy pace. It's getting them learn how to spin that ball off that pinky and let that thing get the rotation. Too many young kids, when they get that change up, they'll kind of choke it, and that middle or pinky finger will kind of cut that ball a little bit, and then they'll kind of throw a hanging breaking ball in there. So this way, it's just a good chance just to kind of get it. Then we have these half balls. I'll take a baseball and I'll just draw the hockey puck on there, and that way they have a visual and they can just see it spinning if it's spinning in the right direction. We'd love for it to spin this way, but to be honest, that's probably what we're going to get out of it. Okay, a good 2 o'clock spin. Probably my biggest thing here is the big stick. Okay. A lot of these young kids don't understand how to locate fastballs. They just think throw it. Now, the better ones, they're so athletic that you can just hand them a baseball and they see and they just know how to do it. But they really don't understand the back shoulder, okay, and the front shoulder and the direction side. And you guys hunt and all? Okay, we got a bunch of hunters up where I live, so I got to shut down fall baseball October 15th for rifle season. But this is my tool. No, I don't beat my sticks with the kids with it, but we use it for stretching. But we also use it to check some things out. So basically what I do is we'll locate on pitches or on colored plates. And I've got about 50 of these things that we made out of duct tape, the different color duct tape. And we'll just call sides. Okay, and we try to have every pitcher with one of these so they can throw when they're throwing, and we might call red. Okay, and so if the red side's down there when the pitcher's throwing there, we want him to feel that front shoulder going towards red. Okay, but the biggest one is when he finishes, that back shoulder finishes on red. And what I do with this stick is I just take it and lay it on his shoulders just like that. He ducks down and comes behind and looks at it, and the catcher or his partner will have frozen the baseball, and I just say, where'd it go? And he goes, right where the coach pointed, or right where the stick pointed, coach. Okay, and that's the big stick. Use the stick just to show these guys, especially when they're missing arm side a whole bunch. You guys might see it especially with the changeup. These guys are constantly missing right-handers in the right-hand batter's box. Just stop them when they finish, and I guarantee you when they finish, that right shoulder has gotten to about right here. Well, that's where the ball just went, into the right-hand batter's box. So now they have this thought process that now I've really got to finish that right shoulder, and you lay the stick on their back and have the catcher freeze the ball, and it's going to be right there in the target, right along the line. Okay, it's a good teaching tool, and then you can just take it and tap them on the butt a little bit with it and tell them good job at that point. Okay, so that's the big stick. I love that thing. One of my friends taught it to me in like 1997 or so. I've carried it with us ever since. It's a good tool. The kids, when they see that come out, they go, big sticks here today. All right, so we got out of that. I'm sorry, I messed it up. So the next things I got through there, the next thing is the yellow section of what our bullpens look like. Now, we have 3 different versions of our bullpens. We have starters for varsity, we have varsity relievers, and we have young pitchers, okay? Because my 14 and 15-year-olds can't, they're not strong enough to make the number of throws that my older guys are. The second thing is we have 3 more weeks with our JV and freshman team because I don't know about you guys, but our first practice day is February 12th. February 15th, I play the state champion and the state semifinals from our side. Okay, that's Saturday. 3 days of practice, and we're scrimmaging right off the bat. So we've got to get going. So they get, I'm going to go back one, there we go. So they get, this is our first one in December 28th this year. They'll get every pitch scripted for them from January or December 30th all the way to February 12th. Every pitch that they're going to throw in scrimmage or simulated scrimmage, every pitch that they're going to throw in their bullpens, and they have it from the get-go. Our older guys know what percentage they're throwing, whether they're in stretch, whether they're full distance, or whether we're at 54 feet. And we're working constantly, there. The other thing is teaching them to communicate. What was your focus before you came into the pen? I check it before they get up on the mound. If they didn't write anything out, I'm like, get out. I just tell them, get out. It takes one time, okay? And then start writing it. We have 3 different focuses. If they write mechanics, what part of mechanics are you looking at? Just don't give it one word. Express and communicate. I'm looking to throw harder today. Well, let me ask you a question. We're throwing 60% velocity today. I'm not looking for velocity today. Okay? I'm looking to throw more strikes. How are we looking to throw more strikes? What was the problem? Have them write what their focus is before they come in there. Okay? When they get up to the mound, I ask them that. Hey, what are you here to work on today? And they need to be able to give me an answer. It's part of that building that relationship and communication. After they throw, okay, what did I do well today? Hopefully there's something that they did well that they can write down. Okay? Bottom part, what did coach say or what do I need to improve on? What did we work on in the bullpen today? Because every one of our average baseball players will forget by tomorrow. They will forget by tomorrow. Your really, really special ones, they'll remember it, whatever it is. And those are the ones that we want to, not ignore, but we really want those middle of the ground ones, those ones we have to grow and build, okay, to help us in the, that position number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in our rotation. Okay, those 1 or 2s, they usually got it together a little bit. Our live, okay, so we were supposed to go live this week, but we got what you guys got. I promise I didn't bring the snow with me, okay? But we were supposed to go live this week in the 3rd and the 4th week of throwing. So when I say we'll work all the way up to 90 pitches in a practice before our first scrimmage. For me, what 90 pitches means is there are 30 in the bullpen. Okay, if they throw 30 in the bullpen, that's 30, so now they're down to 60. If they throw 3 innings, that's 21 in between innings as warm-up pitches. Those count too. So I'm going to get about 40 to 45 pitches out of that guy game-wise that day. That's the way I look at it. We train at my school for the number of pitches that you can throw. And if you've gotten up to 90, that's about 40, 45 pitches. If you think about the number of throws, like if a guy throws, what is your rule in South Carolina, 110? Okay, if he throws 110 and threw 7 innings, that's 70 more pitches in between innings, right? Plus the 20 in the bullpen, let's say you threw, plus the warm-ups. You're over 200 tosses that day, aren't you? You've got to train your kids to get to that number, okay? And they have to be able to, to do that work. Now, once we get to this, the live, we're on 4 days rest mandatory, okay, automatically. I'm always a big believer in whatever PitchSmart says, USA PitchSmart +1. Okay, I never go by their rules. We always add 1 more to it. Again, it's kind of the same format. We're fortunate we have Rapsodo, so we can use that. If you don't have it, that's okay too. Okay, it's just an extra little tool. Our younger guys will go along, but it's going to be slower. They're only going to throw 2 times a week. They're not as physically strong yet, so we want to take them, but everything's there. But when my varsity starts going live, I know what happens with my JV guys. They all, well, when are we going to get to go live? Well, I got one field for 3 teams, right? And I've got to get Team A ready first. So we created a competitive bullpen where they call each other out. Corey, I want you. Okay? Corey whips my butt. The next time, I want you. And we let them do matchup against each other and compete. You get 3 points for a strike, and if it's a fastball, 1 point for the velocity win. Okay, it's just a competition, a little game that they can play. All right, that is from head to toe, all of our, I know you can't see it very well, but at the end I'll give you a copy of it. Our kids, let's suppose we have PFP 4 today, then somewhere in my back pocket here, they'll have a card for that, what it's going to look like. Okay, and they just take it and go, okay, what's PFP4 again? Because PFP4 has 4 different things. And our numbers relate with the base that we're going to be working at. So if it's 4, we're at the plate. If it's 1, it's with the first baseman. If it's 2, it's with the middle infielders. If it's 3, with the third baseman. And so we put these things in, but they have a copy of them. We actually go through a dress rehearsal in December where we run these. We have half a group long tossing, half a group working their PFPs out on the game field, and then we flip-flop, okay? The whole thing in December is to teach them what the PFPs should look like. As you get going, and the bases are usually covered by our other pitchers, so we just rotate. But as we get them down, then we start incorporating our position players with that as well. And so, again, at the end, I'm sorry you can't see it. It's a bad slide, but you can see there's a lot of them that we try to run. Just hit that QR code at the end and you get them all. All right. As a coach, I don't want to open up those books and have to look through every single one of them, right? Okay, 43 guys, that's a lot of pitchers to look through. So we have a tally sheet at the back end. They're required to do this after they throw. That way I can kind of see, hey, Johnny is throwing his changeup. He threw 5 changeups today. They were all balls. The next time he threw 5 changeups, all balls. The next time he threw 8 changeups, he threw 1 strike, 7 balls. Now all of a sudden, as a coach, I can look at that data really quick and go, Johnny needs help with his changeup. Okay, and so that's the only thing the tally sheet's there for. Okay, it's not to say, hey, you're terrible or anything else. It's for us as coaches to identify where weaknesses might be in our pitchers. Because, you're going through 18 guys at a time in one day, and you kind of lose track. My kids hate this one. They got a journal after every bullpen, okay? My pitching coach in college was Roger Williams, the pitching coach at Louisville. I showed my kids a notebook that was that thick for the 3 years that I was with them. We had a journal all the time. I wanted to kill Roger, and now I want to kiss him on the mouth. Okay, because I look back there at all the things I used to do and all the things he told me, and I look now and I'm like, man, why didn't I listen better? Okay, and so I can pick up some things there. Our kids can do it too. Hey, Coach told me that, I have a dead front side, and I need to stay here. And if they write about it in there, they're going to remember it a lot better. Okay, they hate writing, right? I don't know about you guys, but in North Carolina, our test scores have gone down, so we have to write and do vocabulary every day. I teach AP Physics and AP Chemistry. What the crap do I want to write for? I want to do math problems, right? Okay, but I got to do something every time. So our kids are having to write, and then we've got to check them and read through them. Okay, probably the most important part of our practice for our pitchers are at the end. Okay, I had my first Tommy John in 29 years of coaching with my guys, and it's because he was playing with the travel team, and they threw him 30 pitches on Friday, and then 10 pitches Saturday, and then he came back and threw 105 on Sunday. Okay, and I just wanted to cry. Okay, sophomore left-hander, 84 miles an hour, was on his path. They tried to work through it, and then he had the brace put on, and he's back this year, and he can't pitch, but he can play center field, So we really are adamant about this. The investment needs to be from your school, okay? So the first thing is fitness. Our kids, by the way, they hate the shuttle runs. So our fitness is put in the book. They know every day what their fitness is, okay? So they do that. Whenever we do sprint work, I went on Temu and I bought like 30 parachutes for like $60. Okay, I know you better get them before Trump puts the tariffs on. Okay, but they hate running in the parachutes. But if you see the parachute on the ground, they're not running hard enough, right? Okay, you always got that kid that kind of just jogs at sprint work, but they've got to get those parachutes up. The flushes, I don't have the video with me. It wouldn't load up, but basically it's taking weighted balls and shaking. Okay, and there's a ton of different exercises, and it's about getting blood back into the shoulder. So I'll have that video for you guys so you can kind of see that. This is one of the positives I got from Coach Wright out in Huntington Beach with the Canes, is we added these things in. We do them nonstop. I got guys that are throwing 60 pitches during the summer. They flush out. They go in for a lift. The next day they're ready to go again on the mound. They feel that good. We have very, very limited soreness with that, and we really like what these things are doing. And the last thing that we've been doing the last 2 years is we invested $1,500 on 3 Martin Pros. If you've never had them, Coach, you guys have them. You guys use them a whole lot. They work, don't they? It's an electronic stimulator. They sit on it for 15 minutes, okay, and they flip it to the next guy, and it's getting blood back into the shoulder or the elbow, and don't do it if they're hurt, okay? But if they're just throwing, do it every day. So my office upstairs after practice, I've got like 9 guys waiting to get on that every day, okay? Some of them get in it before I get upstairs, but my office is open, and that's where we have them. It's a good investment. Tell your athletic director. Do you guys have trainers mandatory? And I saw you had to do the wet bulb and all that. You guys have trainers at your school? Tell your athletic director, look, you can use them in football. You can use them in basketball, volleyball. It doesn't matter. It can go on the legs. It can go on the arm. But it's money well worth spent because of the safety of our players, okay? So, hopefully they can find $1,500, $2,000 for you guys. All right, let's just talk about how am I doing on time. Cord, where are we at? 7:35. 7:35, okay, I'm getting close. All right, I tend to talk a lot, so if you guys leave me up here, I'll talk all night. All right, so I apologize about that. So this is what I see with young pitchers that drives me crazy, okay? I've got a kid, and I always look at the bottom of the delivery. I don't even watch him throw. I just watch their feet, okay? When they go into the windup and they're here, and the first thing they do is that foot is pointing that way behind the right-hand hitter, and they can't get the ball across the plate, okay? It's like a hitter that the first thing they do is do this right here, okay, right? They're not going to hit that, be very successful except for in one spot. And they're going to be lucky if that foot is that far cocked off the rubber. So it's been amazing to me to see some of the things that have been taught to our youth kids when they were in Little League or whatever it is about the mechanics, and how simple is that? Look, I got a UNCW commit that his foot looks like that 9 out of 10 times. That's driving me crazy right now. Okay, and he keeps missing arms. So I throw 91, coach. Yeah, you hit the first 7 dummies that we had in the bullpen. Okay, it's a very simple thing, but watch it. When you go to the bullpen, don't watch him throw. Watch a specific piece of his body, and that's what you need to key on. Okay, and for me, with young kids, it's always their feet. That's the first thing that's going to mess them up. So I like to teach it being parallel. I know some people teach hooking the rubber with their spikes. You guys play on some bad fields sometimes. Yeah, where there's a hole like that in front of the rubber. Okay, New Bern High School, it's completely sand bound. Okay, by the time the second inning's over, there's a hole that deep in the landing spot. I love the guy at New Bern, but fix your mound. So your foot literally would be like that if you hooked your spikes. So I try not to. The other thing is I see kids putting their entire foot on top of the pitching plate. And it's just like, where did we get this from? Okay, so start and key on that bottom foot. The next thing I'm dealing with a lot is, you guys tell me, do you see a lot of your pitchers after they throw, they're going this direction? You guys see that a lot right now, that they're falling off to the glove side? And the whole thing, and we've been working on this, is one, they don't have an understanding of what a block is in the bottom half. Okay, it starts to get a little bit more. It does help them throw harder if you can get them. But it's all about this knee right here, okay? And if I just take my knee and I point my toe straight and I whip, that knee's going to go like that, isn't it? If I whip this side over, that knee's going to go like that. Well, which way's my body going to go? It's going to end up falling to this side, and especially with young players, okay? Now, if I had like Pedro Martinez or something like that, I'd say good job and hand them a towel. Okay, but we're talking about young players and trying to get them in the zone, because that's where we can be efficient. So what I try to do with my young pitchers is get them to land at that. Well, when can we promote that? It's not in the bullpen. It's too late by the time we get to the bullpen. You got to hit them during the throwing program. Okay, that's when the work's done, that 90%. Okay, so that's the first thing. We really want to get this thing closed. Now, it doesn't have to be like closed, okay, but just about that 45-degree. But if you get to that point, you're going to stop seeing them slide off, okay? The other thing you can do is when they're throwing their pen, if they're throwing this way, you just go stand right there and just say, don't hit me between the legs, right? Okay, and that will keep them on plane too, and they'll get a little bit better feel of that. So that hip, knee, and foot. The second thing I've been seeing a lot of is this front knee, when they come up to balance on their lift, is wide open, and they've already lost that hip. In our plyo series that we do, we really stress, it's not that swing close, but really getting that foot into this position right there and getting those hips turned. And so what we talk about with our young guys is taking the knee to the back shoulder. It's really simple. Okay, a lot of them, once they do it, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to swing that leg. Okay, so you want to stop that from swinging, because when they swing it, then they've got to swing back. But as they lift, you just want to get that slight little turn. Show them that hip pocket. Show them one of your numbers, whatever it may be. And again, the quicker you do this out on the field before you get to the bullpen, the more it's going to help you there. All right, one of the last things I have is my pitchers hate me because they don't understand why. Now, this isn't 100%. I make a move like Nolan Winfield that's going to UNCG probably has 14 inches of run on his fastball. Okay, if he starts over on the arm side he's going to be having trouble. He's going to be missing in a lot. So we'll make the adjustments as there. But I want you to think about something. If I start as a pitcher, okay, and I start right here, and I throw the ball right there, that ball's starting right down the middle of the plate. That's what they see. If it's going this way, it's a ball. If it's going this way, if it's a ball. If it's going this way, yeah, they're locked and loaded. But if you look at like old pictures of Randy Johnson, okay, he started the baseball behind left-handers hitters' heads. That every pitch he threw went down at an angle. So I want to get myself over to the arm side so when I come up and I make that throw, I'm starting the ball at the batter's head. Okay? And everything I throw is going at an angle towards home plate. Now, is it going at an angle to the inside corner? Is it going in at an angle middle? Or is it going at an angle on the outside? And is it going at an angle off the plate? And then if it's a breaking ball, it's even more. Okay? And it causes deception that is a needed thing. It's almost a lost thing for our young pitchers. But why do they want to go to this side? Coach, you keep calling outside fastballs, so that makes me closer to that outside fastball, right? Well, you can fix that with the big stick drill, right, to get it out there, okay, to get them to there. And they will see that's better. The other part about the benefit of that is, if you've ever heard it, the longer I hold the breaking ball, the more I can pull it and spin it, right? Okay, and the sharper it's going to be. So if I'm all the way on my arm side and I'm throwing a breaking ball to the outside, I've really got to hold that for a little bit longer to get it there. I might have a little bit of nastier bite on that day. Okay, so as you're going, don't be like this is end all. Okay, with it. It's not end all. If you have a pitcher that just can't do it, then make the adjustment. Right? It doesn't have to be, but this is a great starting point for us. Okay, on that arm side. All right, just a summary. Hopefully that gets you into my Google Drive. Anything and everything, guys. I think there's like 500 things in there, so it's all yours. My phone number's up there. My email's up there. Just what I'm gonna tell you now. Develop a plan. Okay. You know, keep the weight on the back foot. I didn't talk about the drift too much. You know, think about that front knee. You know, front big stick drill. And remember, every pitcher's different. And learn what works for them. Remember, you're going to have a young freshman who might not be very good. Okay? Love on them, because they might be the guy in the state championship their senior year that wins it for you, that you get a dog pile on it. That's a true story. Okay, 5'4", 5'5" senior named Tanner Jones, and we jumped all over him in 2005 and had a great time. Okay, beat Hal Bagwell that year. Okay, so again, I'm always available. I'll be here for all weekend. Guys, you are amazing. Thank you so much. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Coach Hill. Hope I didn't go too much.